All right, those on YouTube, thank you so much for clicking on this and pressing play and hearing what I got to say. This is the Thursday or the once a week segment, part of Wake Up World Network that we do here. We do it live on Facebook, but we record it for those on YouTube. So using that as an avenue to reach out to people, as this is a network, I'm wanting to network with people. I just don't want this to be about me. I want other people to join, so be thinking about that. Just drop me a message on Facebook. It's just search for Wake Up World Network. You'll see a world and a cross in the center of it, and I'm pretty sure you'll just see these videos. So with that, let me introduce myself. My name is Nate. I am the pastor, the overseer of Wake Up World Ministry. I've been doing this now for going on or a little over. No, it's 5 years now. So amen to that, and just trying to find God's heart on what he wants to do with this ministry, and it's networking with people, it's working with people. That's what I'm passionate about. But doing current world events, and most of all, building ministry is supposed to be built on the foundation of prayer, and that's what we do on Wednesdays. But with that stuff out of the way, again, if you are interested in becoming a part of the team here, drop me a message on Facebook, or my email is wakeupworldnetwork at gmail.com, or you can just go to wakeupworldministry at gmail.com and message me there. But today I want to do something a little bit different. There are things going on in Israel, and I want to talk a little bit about the soon-to-be president of the United States, and people are still freaking out about it. I was at work today, and I heard two young people walk by, and they were just like, "Oh, I can't believe this is happening." And I want to do a little bit of motivational speaking. I don't try to do it just to do it. I do it because I'm passionate about it. It's because I was one person that needed that push, needed motivation, and I enjoy helping others. It's not to glorify myself. It's to fully be selfless and help others to have a different way of thinking, not to force them to, but to look at things maybe they're not understanding, and also not putting so much control in other human beings' hands. Okay, not allowing somebody to dictate how you feel. So that is going to be the majority of what we do tonight. But go ahead and talk about a few things in Israel. The UN, that stuff is going on right now. Damascus was just hit by Israel. We still need to be praying for the peace of Israel. We did that last night. Man, it was just powerful. I'm really praying that if Benjamin Netanyahu does not know Jesus, that'll happen soon. So be praying for Israel. But just going off, I follow End Time Headlines, so shout out to them. End Time Headlines is pretty good stuff. They don't publish a lot of junk at all. Let's see here. One cool thing to be looking at is Christian leaders are descending on the nation's capital to take a stand for Israel. So I know the pastor that I was ordained by, Pastor Sylvester Bland of United Saints of America Home Churches International, which is another show he does daily. Check him out. Awesome, just brother in the Lord. Awesome pastor and leader. He does things like this regularly, where he'll go to DC, or he'll go to a lot of historical places in this country and rally with other believers and pray. Most of all, pray, but also talk to people, see what they're thinking, see what they see is going on. So that is awesome that that's coming, because we need to stand behind Israel. But I did want to. There's one subject I wanted to talk about as a topic tonight, and I'll probably do a little bit more in depth of one. But I really just feel strongly about doing this motivational speaking segment, because I'll just get to that in a second. But the article that I did want to address, and I didn't put it in the headlining, but it's just interesting to me, because this is not the only place that this is happening. But the title is this: Quran verse denying Jesus was Son of God, sung at a Scottish cathedral. Let me say that again. Quran verse denying Jesus was the Son of God, sung in Scottish cathedral. The story is taking place January 12th, 2017. A passage from the Quran denies one of the central tenets of the Christian faith was sung aloud at a Catholic cathedral. I'm guessing that's what it is. Cathedral service in Scotland. The passage was from Surah 19, which denies that Jesus was the Son of God, and says he should not be worshipped, and was sung during a Eucharist service, St. Mary's Episcopal Cathedral in Glasgow. I completely butchered that. To mark the feast of Epiphany. That's a word. The video is a reticle. Was posted on YouTube showing a girl singing the passage in a typical Islamic style. It narrates the Islamic account of the birth of Jesus, which includes the claim that Mary was ashamed after giving birth, and the infant of Christ miraculously spoke from the cradle, something not found in Christian scripture. Here's the thing. Regardless of what denomination you are, if you're saying you follow Jesus, you love Jesus, and that, regardless of what denomination, if Jesus Christ is Lord of your life, then we're on the same page here. We may have some doctrinal differences, but Jesus isn't going to come back for a denomination. He's coming back for those who are called by his name, and his name alone, those who know him. And we're all going to stand before him one way, shape, or form. But to allow this to happen, if this reaches Scotland, that particular cathedral, I mean, I get, being cultural diverse, allowing people to come in, because Jesus died for the whole world. But allowing these types of things to be read. I understand that you don't want to make a scene, maybe that wasn't planned. But here's the thing. Islam is about to take a huge swing in the world. I fully believe that. And eventually it will say that Jesus is not the Son of God, that he was just basically exactly what the Quran says, is a prophet, and that was it. No, he was the prophet, the Messiah. Plain and simple. He is the Redeemer, he's the Savior. He is God, 100% divine, and 100% man. He was 100% God, 100% man. God came down and dwelt in the flesh to die and pay for the sins of all because he loves us. He wanted to restore the connection that we broke with him. So I just want your guys' thoughts on this. Please, on Facebook or on YouTube, please comment below. What are your thoughts on it? Have I said anything out of turn? Because I'm not looking for a debate, but I'm pretty sure if I was in that particular cathedral, I don't think I'd be able to hold my tongue. I'm just being completely honest. Now with that, let's move on, because it's stuff like this, we can talk about, but this is an important thing. Just to switch tracks here to the main topic I want to talk about. And I just want to show you, you've probably heard the saying, and I'm just going to do the illustration. Okay, you see this? Okay. YouTube, you see this? Yes, right? Okay. This is a glass of water. It's half empty, or is it half full? Now the motivation behind this is because I've said the same to people when they're very negative in their thinking. They don't act like they have a lot of hope, and you ask them, so and so, is the glass half empty or is it half full? Because I mean, it's a great question, right? It's a great question. It's a debatable answer. I mean, it's probably a little actually over half, but oh well. Is the glass half empty or is it half full? Well, in your life, in your perspective, in your way of thinking, in your moral, and the way you go about things every day, your motivation, you can ask yourself that. But I was really just thinking about this today. As I said, seeing these young people walk by and they're talking about how Trump is about to take office and how it's all horrible and stuff, and I'm pretty sure everybody that's been following me know my political views on things. I am a conservative libertarian. I'm for the people, the government being for the people, by the people. I don't like the way our country was ran the last 8 years, but I also don't see a lot of us conservatives, or if you will, even Republicans. I'm not a Republican, but I don't see a lot of what is going on right now. I don't see that's what we did the last election or the election before that. we pushed on, we moved on, because that is one thing I like about the, I don't say, I guess the party I affiliate myself with is because, number one, first, I am a believer in Jesus. I am a servant of his first. But when it comes to things in this country, I am a libertarian. I am a conservative. We don't allow people to take power from us. So the illustration I want to give you is this. We can go ahead and say all day long and debate with one another and say, oh yeah, is the glass half empty or is it half full? What I see is going on right now, it's more like this. You're giving power to somebody. And when you do that, the glass is no longer half empty or half full. You've given them complete power to dictate how you feel, how you see the direction of your life, how you see the direction of this country going. Let me give you some inspiration here and a peaceful way of doing this. The government was never designed to be over the people. It has been like that for far too long. It hasn't just been this last 8 years. It's been like this for a very, very, very long time. And sadly, the leaders that we had that wanted to change that ended up somehow dying. It's just an interesting fact. But what's going on right now, for those that are completely against Trump getting in the office, you're allowing this to happen right here. You can't say the glass is half empty or is half full. You've given complete power over a situation that's going on that there's nothing in this. Because you're allowing somebody else to dictate. You're allowing a situation to dictate what is going on. So you no longer can say, you're giving that power away. You're giving that, that say you have, the power that you have to say for yourself that, regardless of what's going to happen, God's in control of my life. I'm going to let him lead me. Regardless of what happens to this country, I'm going to trust in him first and foremost. But on a more personal scale, and that's the first part, is being right with him so you can be right this way, right? That's one principle that my pastor, as I'm an apprentice of, has taught me, my mentor, is if we get this right, we'll be able to get this right. That's what we need to focus on. That's what helps fill this glass up a little bit, because that's helping each other, right? And actually, the first part of this is really, it's the majority. It's all Jesus right there. Okay, that's almost all. It really should be all the way up and overflowing. But what I'm giving the example of is for people that feel like they're hopeless, that there is no hope, that it is undone, that this country is done for. Look, we said the same speech as a libertarian, as a conservative. We said the same speech about Obama. Guess what? Yes, this country is bleeding. Yes, this country is hurting. But we're still trying to move forward. You have the ability to do so. Or you can just sit there. You can lie down and not do anything. You have that choice. You can make that decision. Or, as I said, get right with this. Get right with God. So you can be right this way. Because what happens this way, you still go back to here. You still go back to God and say, okay, God, how do I go about this? This chaos is happening. With the riots and so forth. I did a couple of videos on the riots and what I would do in the situation. But the thing is, what this country needs most is God. Plain and simple. When we have this right, again, we're going to have this right. If we start uniting together as people of the church, no longer divided by denomination, that means we're starting to get this right. Because God does not want us to be divided. He has different parts of the body, but we're all still one body. We still all have a job to do, and that's to lead people to Jesus. We're supposed to be light to the world. But when we start giving power to certain situations, imagine what happens when the Antichrist actually comes into power. What everybody's going to be doing, they're going to be losing their minds instead of staying focused. Yes, there's some horrible things that's going to happen. Yes, these next 4 years or 8 years or whatever is going to happen is going to be interesting. But don't give all that power away to that situation and let it dictate your life. Because again, you don't have any water in that glass when you do that. You don't. It's gone. But at a certain point, you also have got to get to the point where you may be going through other situations on top of this. And Your glass may more look like this. You're hanging on by a thread. Hopefully that's with Jesus. Okay? Number one, let God fill you up. Let him fill you up as far as it can go. Okay? But don't let people even steal that from you. Because I'm going to say this bluntly, and this is going to hurt some people's feelings, and I personally love you enough as a follower and a servant of the Lord, just as you, to say this. A lot of us will give that power up because of situations around us. We're taking the exact power and new life God gives us, and we just throw it in that situation. Says, nope, it's hopeless. Nope, we're not even saying that we have enough faith that God can work through this. God can help us through this. That's exactly what we're doing when we're saying when the glass is just empty. We're giving away even what God gives us. In these situations, that's where we need to stand with God first. And this will be right, okay? Don't let situations in life bring you down. Sometimes you just got to look at the plain, what's right in front of you. Maybe the glass isn't half full or half empty. Maybe it's just an empty glass. Again, let God fill you up first. And then start making action. Because guess what? This glass is going to stay this way, follow me here, until you do something about it. That took action. That's filling it up more. And it may go down a little bit. It may go up higher. It may overflow. And hopefully that's when God really you and God are just so much in relationship. You guys are like Enoch. You guys are walking hand in hand. But you have got to take action in make a choice in your life that you're not going to let situations dictate how your life is. Look, I've known people that have been in the homeless situation for a long time. And I'm going to say this bluntly. A lot of that is by choice. We have got to stop watering down the situations at hand. If somebody is a drug addict and they're continuing to do drugs, I understand it's an addiction. So if you have the resources to help them get pulled out, do so. Because if they don't have the willpower, their glass is completely empty. You can go and pour into their life. You can sow into their life and help them move forward. Starting with Jesus. Tell them about Jesus. Tell them about the resurrecting power and what he can do in their life. And just sow into their life. Motivate them to move forward. Be an example. I was homeless. It wasn't because of drug or anything like that. It was a choice that I made when I first started doing ministry. If you actually look back at my videos on my old channel on YouTube, TS8017, I announced that I really feel like God is telling me to do ministry full time. I quit my job. For 6 months, God sustained me with no job. I had food. I had enough food. I got really skinny, but I had enough food. I had a roof over my head. I had bills paid. I still worked. I still was just wanting to seek the Lord. In that time, he taught me I can truly focus and rely on him. But it did, when I got back from Virginia, I ended up in a shelter. But God was preparing me something. He was preparing for me to do something. And also he was humbling me. I said a long time ago when I was selling DirecTV in New Mexico, I actually had to stay a night in a shelter out there. It was one of the, not the roughest of my times of my life, but it was rough. It was not a fun time. And it was only for one night. And I said right then there pridefully, I would never, ever spend another night in a shelter. And guess what? I was in a shelter again. And this time it was for, it was almost like 4 months. What I'm getting at here, guys, is if your glass is half empty, don't stop there. If it's half full, don't stop there. If you really want to succeed in life, if you don't want situations, if you truly want to be somebody that says, I don't allow situations to dictate my life, how it is lived, I'm going to try. This is kind of a continuation video of my New Year's speech, if you will. This year, work a little bit harder. Try to move forward just a little bit more. Most of all, sow into somebody's life, especially just telling them about Jesus. Plant seeds. Because, guys, we have the ability, the power to go before God's throne, most of all. Seek him for wisdom and knowledge. And to move forward in life. Guess what? If college isn't working out for you, find a trade. Or just work another job. If you're worried about finances, make sacrifices. If you're not happy where you are in life, first understand that joy comes from the Lord. and let that be the foundational where you step off of. I'm not going to tell you you're going to be rich and famous and all this good stuff. I'm going to tell you that God has plans and purposes for you, but until you take action to step towards those things and start asking Him, you're going to stay exactly where you are. I live in a city that when I first got back here, when I was getting ready for the Army, before my medical problems came up again, I heard the saying, and I'm not trying to speak death as in truth into the saying, but Lancaster is known as a black hole. It's known as a black hole. It just, people try to leave and it sucks them right back, and it keeps them there. It keeps them in a certain state of mind where they struggle. And this town is riddled with poverty. It really is. It's not as nice of a town as it was many years ago, but it's a mindset and mentality that people want to live off of a system instead of try harder. Look, if you start taking stones, right, and you start stacking them up on each other, they might fall off and stuff like that, but eventually you're going to start building up a wall. You're going to be getting somewhere. My advice and my encouragement to you, let me sow into you some advice. Start doing that. Stop allowing life and things around you to dictate whether your glass is going to stay half empty or half full. Start making moves to where you could start filling that glass up more. First with Jesus, always with Jesus. And just making movements in your life, making a choice. Do you want to succeed in life? And success is not based off of money, but it's a mindset every day that you wake up. Let me just put it to you like this. Last night I went to bed at 4 o'clock in the morning because I was working on learning my trade that I'm getting into as a knife smith, as a knife maker. I was doing some final edge work on a chef knife that I made for my mom. This is something that I have to sow time into. I have to put time into because I don't want to be where I was a year ago, or I don't want to be where I don't want to be where I'm at now a year from now. Okay, same thing was last year. When I was getting home at night, guess what I was doing? If I didn't have ministry stuff to do, if I didn't have my one video to do a week, or writing a sermon, or any of that stuff, I play video games until 2 o'clock in the morning. Now I am making steps to get into a trade that I'm passionate about, that I'm excited that this is another doorway to tell people about Jesus and to show the craftsmanship of my hand and relate that to God, as we are craftsmanship of Him. But guess what? He's designing you to be a tool. He's designing you to be a asset to His kingdom. But you got to start stepping into that. So, in closing, I hope this has helped you a little bit. If you're satisfied with life, again, success is not based off of money. Number one, it's your relationship with God. And with things going around the world, that is the foundation you've got to stand on, is your relationship with God, His Word. Secondly, is where you're at in life. If you're not happy, and again, joy comes from the Lord, find that foundation first. But if you see where you're at in life and that's not where you want to be, make a choice to move from there. Start making a plan to move from there. It can be done. Don't tell me it can't. Don't say, well, because of this situation or something else. If there is a will, there's a way. Guess what? That will comes from God. If God has plans and purposes for you, there's nothing in this world that will take you from that plan unless you stop moving. And be satisfied for what you have. Those are the key things, is relationship with God. If you're not happy where you're at, make plans to move forward and away from that and towards that objective. And to be satisfied for what you have. Again, it's not about money. But I think if we have this mindset and we stop letting the things around us dictate how we live our lives, dictate how we plan our future, even our kids' future. I hear people constantly say, oh, Trump's in presidency, my kids will never have a future now, blah, 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 and all these people. Or you can take the initiative, you could take the responsibility for your own life and say, I'm going to work that little more, that extra hour. I'm going to put in that extra swing of the hammer, is what my blacksmith teacher always says. And I'm going to improve. And I'm telling you, I serve the one true living God, the Alpha and the Omega, who created everything around me right now, one way, shape, or form. You're going to try to tell me that it can't be done? No, it can be, but you also have to be in will with him. So that's all I got. Is, guys, stop letting situations and things around this life dictate how you live yours and plan your future. Start making movements towards the will God has for you. Get in a good relationship with God and start sowing into other people's lives. That's all I got for you. God bless. We'll see you next Wednesday.